I will start you with the e-commerce integration, how to integrate with the Liferay, or how to use the Liferay like an e-commerce. Then I will start now. In a first, what is the e-commerce? It's primarily the buy and sell, or B2B or B2C integration, or the online marketplacing, or the shopping. That almost you are thinking about the e-commerce is primarily in the shopping. Not in fact, there is a lot of things around that the shopping, what are you meaning in e-commerce now? There's a prime message, not only the shops are e-commerce at now. When the e-commerce started, in the starting of the internet in the early 90s year, there was growing and building the Pizza Hut like a first e-commerce solution based on the internet. Before them, it was the video text and so on and so on. But after it, it was the starting the online payment, that you are making some order on the internet, then going for the multi-channeling or the mobile customer-oriented e-shops, or some selling something, services or goods on it. And an early stance that are going for the online assistant, and the omni-channeling that are changing from the assist your e-shop, or the assist you make your order, assist to make your order services and changing your service, going to the now to the sell everything what is meaning. Because I have a lot of experience from the telco and the telco operators in our customer primary that are selling a lot of things on a mobile devices. There's changing in the last 3 or 4 years, where are changing from the websites to the omnichannel on a handheld or the phones and so on. Then what is the future now that this will be changing to the augmented or virtual reality? How is the Brian was presented in a morning slides, and now that's it, the future what is going on. But what is specific for the telco? It's a multifunctional portal which are complex for customer interaction and making the orders between the B2C or B2B, and have a complex portfolio. What are the primary enablers to make a portal with e-commerce? That I told before, it's primarily the shopping cart. Shopping cart software which are holding what I make in an order, what I get to the cart, and configure what kind of you do, or what kind of the goods are you buying, or what kind of service are you order. Other part of it, it's when you finish your order, you want to track how it's that the order is shipped, how it's tracked to you, how it's moving on a way to you, that finally wants to check when is your order is at this time. And when you are making order, you want to see how your goods or service look like. Then you administer, you manage content, and show your presentation layer on the portal to view in each devices how the customer look on your goods. And a lot of things which are on it are to integrate it like on an e-commerce, or the e-commerce functionalities on a portal. It's instant messaging. You want to interact with the customer. Payment system, you want to online pay for it, not after the selling. Make an automated online assistant which your customer need to help with the making order, and a lot of others, as their banking, digital wallet, and so on. The customer needs to know what they are buy in a history. They want to print the invoice. They want to need information about services, about goods, which they are a little bit order in effect. Okay, now we know what the e-commerce is. Let's do it on a Liferay. Liferay is a portal. We have the presentation layer on it, and make the e-commerce there. First, you must answer on a question. If you are implement the e-commerce platform on a portal, and if you want to use Liferay like an e-commerce platform, like out of the box, what are you actually dealing from the e-commerce? If the e-commerce needs a simple offer, simple shopping routes that you sell just only the t-shirts, only jeans, or some very simple stuff, it's very good for the Liferay. If you have like in a telco that mobile virtual operator that simplistic shopping routes from the buy only the phone service like a tariff, and that get to the bundle and move to the customer. Have very simple and ready static project catalog. That's the way why you can use the Liferay. The Chuck said it. Yeah, it must be true. But the opposite, the e-commerce is focused on huge value-added services, has more dependencies between the service and then staff, between the customer services, which is activate or which has customer at home with the company, or you use a very huge cross-sell and upsell algorithm to do it and to improve your buying process. Otherwise, you have the campaign management which you need or which you want to implement on it to target to the focus on a customer ordering. That Liferay isn't a good way to do it. It's because the Liferay has a simplified assets and no support for your very huge business logic of the e-commerce. It's primarily made for the presentation and not for the customer ordering. But what can I do with it if the Liferay is not the good for each e-commerce implementation? We can use some of the third-party platform, primarily Oracle ATG, which is a leader of the e-commerce in the last maybe before the 4 years it was a leader. Otherwise, the Broadleaf, Hybris, or Konakart. Each of these products is able to integrate with the Liferay, plus the e-commerce platform to implement solution on a Liferay portal. We have the experience from each of these products. The primary, I explained the Broadleaf, it's a very usable e-commerce platform on a Spring. It has a lot of REST APIs for the integrated. It can be easily integrated with other systems, not only on a Liferay. Otherwise, the Konakart is very popular e-commerce Java-based platform too, and Konakart has one benefit. It has a portlet which is primarily implemented into Liferay. If you want to use it, try. What is the Oracle? It's a little bit huge, and the history of the Oracle is going down, but is on a separated conversation maybe later. The next question is how we can integrate these third-party products into Liferay. First question is, has customer the existing e-commerce? If yes, you have this option. You can implement portal outside the Liferay, outside the e-commerce, that the e-commerce stay less stable and with no impact. Build the sites, build the users and content as CMS, and so on. But then you must duplicate the e-commerce logic into Liferay portal, like a portals. You just move some part like simplify product catalog into database of the Liferay because they don't need integration on a other layer. And then move like the cart, move like the listing products, and move like the search into the Liferay like a portals. Then you must implement and duplicate the e-commerce business logic in the portal because the integration between the e-commerce and the Liferay, it's not so easy to do it. What's the benefit of this solution? When you have the content in a portal, you can integrate backward from the e-commerce to portal to share the content. You simplify the administration of the business for each product, and the web, which is implemented in an e-commerce, can use the content from the portal. It's a way too easy from the administration of the business. They are really said, yes, that's great. We can only administering only one way. But what is pros and cons of this variant? The pros: you have the stable e-commerce with minimal impact. It still be enabled. It still be accessed by the customer. They really have and use same site, same rows, and same product in it. You have the independent deployment. You can grow and extend each part separately. And you have a time to implement new functionalities from the e-commerce to the portal. Like the step-by-step, you are moving some piece of it to the portal. But what is not good? You duplicate functionalities. You must, same code, do it on a both part. You have need more resources for the support in the future, in a production. And in a time how it's growing and moving pieces from the e-commerce to the portal, your complexity is growing. And in this fact, it's expensive. Yeah. You've got divided the shopping routes. Many of your shopping routes can start in a portal, but they are finished in an e-commerce. Fulfillment, order listing, and online tracking, the primary are in a portal, in an e-commerce, not in a portal. Otherwise, you can implement it, but it's a little bit expensive. And if you do a lot of work, never it will be the same UI. You have the separated CSS from the e-commerce and the layout and design in a portal team on a portal. We're trying to do this, but it never pixel perfect looking the same. What is the second variant? You think that you implement or you have the Liferay portal, and the customer wants to implement a new e-commerce. It is possible. It is possible to do it on a same JVM. You shared a lot of resources, a lot of libraries. You could share a content, and a lot of code you can share. You are on the same JVM that it's very easy for the developers, it's easy for the production, and so on. In effect, you just implement all functionalities on a portal, but you have embedded e-commerce with the business logic in the same JVM. In our real project, we implemented like this variant, the Liferay with the Broadleaf, and it was really functionality, very easy implemented, and the solution of this part was the customer was very satisfied. It was very easy for the production. And on a finish, you could get able to administer the product catalog and the e-commerce on a portal, but separated, like only on a web access, only for the internal access on an e-commerce part. It could be separated of the administrator. But in effect, that the project was started 3 years ago, and now we are a little bit other situation. The complexity of the e-commerce rapidly grows. The customer wants to know shopping routes, know product complexity, and more dependencies, and it's not really so good to do it. What is the cons and pros of this variant? How I was telling before, you rapidly development very, very quickly. In a short time, because the developers had a lot of resources in a one JVM, they can a lot of start to work and a lot of finish something. They are very easy to prepare the dev environment. They are very easy to start to do it, and they are implemented a lot of functionalities very easy. Because you don't need not so many integration and implement SO services like APIs, because that all code you have shared, you have the minimal impact to the e-commerce. You just only do in e-commerce that you have it on a portal. And opposite the previous variant, you have the same UI, same layout, same graphical, because all portlets use same portal theme. But opposite of it, in a life cycle of the solution, you really make to the point, or you are getting to the point where it's needed something patching. And the product will say, OK, you must grow from the Spring 3.0 to Spring 3.2. And you are not able to do because it's dependency between the frameworks, between the Liferay and your e-commerce. Next one is the Performant dependency. On a portal JVM, on the same server, you are doing processing things from the e-commerce, which is not necessary to do it on a Liferay, on a portal. Portal is for the presentation layer, not for the business logic. On this, that you need more portal licenses. Maybe the Liferay stuff will go, OK, great, that will be more money for us, but ask it to customer if they needed more licenses. Next one of these two variants, it's something which we called like the light integration or the microservice integration. It's on you if you have or you implement the Liferay portal or not, but you implement the portal and the e-commerce separately. You can do on a Liferay as many portals as you want. Do the content, have it, but in e-commerce, to prepare the business logic with some APIs. On a Broadleaf, you are very easy to do it because the Broadleaf has REST APIs, which is prepared for you out of the box. But some of them you must implement it on a scratch. And on it, you can implement the portlets in a portal. Otherwise, with the portlets which are implemented outside e-commerce. What do you need but on a portlet implement too? It's a simply controller. You just only serve the pieces of data from the e-commerce platform and just only decide how you must show it for the customer. If you want to list it, if you want to detail, or whatever else that the customer wants. You have the small pieces of the data, just move between each part of the solution, and it's a little bit lightweight. You can implement as many services as you want. You can implement service to the future. You can connect as many portlets to the one service as you want. And this you can build step by step, not only by like a big bang that the customer wants to, I want a shop. Very big benefit of this solution is that you can divide the business logic from the e-commerce separately from the portal. Portal do it what is the best for implement it, that they show the content, show the data, and the e-commerce is preparing the data, what they are representing. What is the cons and pros of this variant? The first, I mentioned before, you have the implement deployments. As in fact, and you can separately patch each part of it. You can develop and deploy it. You have the documented all APIs which are exposed from the e-commerce. You are able to make shorter time to market of new functionalities. Otherwise, if you have the APIs of the e-commerce, because it is a cons, you can touch the frame problem that you need non-functionality from the e-commerce and it doesn't exist now, you must implement it. But it's a short way how to implement. And you have the same UI. It's unified for each part of the portals on it. If we combine this part of this pros opposite what is the negative of it, on the initial part of the project, it's very expensive. You must implement a lot of services which are consumed on a portal, because in a variant 2, you have a lot of your resources very easy to touch. Yeah. And in a lot of developers told you it's very complicated development environment. You must have two separate servers with two separated part of the solution, and each of it must be stable if they are implementing. They are very dependent if some business logic are with something issues or some bugs. Yeah. And the final question, and to find the answer on it, at what is the best for you if the customer wants to implement e-commerce? The primary question must be, e-commerce is already in place, because this is the main part which are decide which version is for you. Then, if somebody wait for some code from a presentation, it's here. It's very simple. if the customer has the e-commerce, you have the only variant 1 and variant 2 is the best for you. Nothing else. You must use the microservice on duplicate. In a microservice, you must build your APIs and then build the portlets in a separate. That is the way how to decommission the primary e-commerce platform, like with the web, and everything do on a Liferay, on a portal. Otherwise, if the complexity is low and you don't need a lot of functionality implement like the APIs, just duplicate. It's not so cost. If the previous question was that the customer has known e-commerce at this time, it's very good to do variant 1 or variant 2. If the complexity of the e-commerce and the products sheets, products catalogs, and the shopping routes is simple, do it on an embedded system. Do it on the same JVM. It's very easy, very quickly, and you don't spend a lot of money to implement a lot of APIs which are not so primary to use for the future. But how is this in a real life? If customers said to you, no, we have only the 10 products and 2 simplified shopping routes, the reality is very different. You must analyze it and decide how is the better way to do it. Yeah. If you have no information or very few information to decision, just made it. Stay for a time and prepare it what is the best for you. Or you can prepare the proof of concept, what is the better, of try to verify if the complexity which set by the customer is that what you think that will be. The next thing which I get you, and which is the main pain which we had on it, on embedded variant which we implement, we are now at a time where the complexity of the solution was very growth up, and now we are on a decision how to optimize it, because the new implementation and new functionality is very expensive. Because opposite, this variant is very easy and cheap in a start. That's, I think, it's all for me. And if you have any questions, it's on you.